Salutations and welcome to the farm. This is another video where I'm going to pay homage to one of the YouTubers that kind of got me started on my journey. And I'm so thankful that there are other YouTube creators out there that have ideas and directions and suggestions for those of us who are trying to branch out and do something new. Now, I have planted 2 Sugar Rush cherry tomato bushes out in the garden, and they've provided me with tons and tons of beautiful, tasty red cherry tomatoes. And I've been using them in pasta dishes. I've added them to some of our other dishes we've had here on the farm that I cook for dinner. And I made a big batch of cherry tomato salsa. So delicious. I planned on making more. With every batch, I figured I'd save up my tomatoes and make more salsa because we love it that much. Now this one's open. Don't worry, it's not that I have a bad headspace. I've already opened it and I've enjoyed it on a breakfast burrito, but I just wanted to show you this beautiful cherry tomato salsa that I made. So yummy. Has just a hint of sweetness in it because these are Sugar Rush tomatoes. But now we're at the end of our growing season and I'm not getting as many off of the bushes as I was before, so I need to do something with these now. I don't have time to wait for a basket to fill all the way up to make a small batch of salsa. So thanks to the Elliot Homestead, she shared something that I would like to share with you today that I'm going to do with these cherry tomatoes. These have had the stems removed. They've been rinsed off. And look, I even have a little baby Roma in here. And I'm just going to place them here on this little cookie sheet. And you may say, why so little? Why do you have such a little cookie sheet? I don't have a traditional oven here on the farm. I just have a little convection oven. And so I just make small batches of things. It's just my husband and I. So we're going to do our best to get these in a single layer. I might have to take some out, save them for the next batch. But that's okay. Good enough. Okay, let me move this basket. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to drizzle our cherry tomatoes in some olive oil. You don't need a lot, just a little bit there. And now, do you remember earlier we did the seasoned salts that we made? I made those earlier today, so they're still sitting here. But I have some basil salt, and I'm just going to take a little bit of that basil salt and sprinkle it on my tomatoes. And these are going to go in my little oven, so I'll be right back. Well, our tomatoes are done roasting. They're beautiful. And what I have here is I have just a quart-sized jar. I may end up going to a half of a gallon jar, depending on how many more tomatoes I get off of my tomato bushes. So what I'll do is I'll just collect my tomatoes. When I have enough to do a little tray, I'll do those up and I'll add them. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and scoop these beautifully roasted tomatoes into our clean jar here. They smell good. We're going to take just a little sprig of rosemary. I'm going to pop that in there. And I'm also going to put in a couple of cloves of garlic. I think I'll just do one to start. Go ahead and we'll take it out of its paper. We'll just pop that in the jar there. We'll go back to putting our tomatoes in. Now what's lovely about this, according to Elliot Homestead, is you're just going to keep this in your refrigerator. We don't need to can it. We can take out or add to as we need. You can use these in pasta dishes. I might add these on top of some of my artisan bread with some of our beautiful salt that we made. The possibilities are endless. I'm going to go ahead and take this oil and juice. I'll just dump that in there. That oil is fine. So here's the trick to keeping these preserved in your refrigerator. As you can see, we've got lots of tomatoes in here and they're subjected to air. What we need to do is we're going to add more olive oil on top so that every tomato is under the oil, and that way it won't go bad. We won't have any bacteria, we won't have any issues. So I've got some really robust olive oil here and we're just going to pour some in. I'm going to put lots in so I know that these are good and well uncovered. It also gives me room to add the occasional tomato if I need to. Those beautiful tomatoes in that jar. So now what we want to do is we want to make sure there aren't any air pockets in there, because again, air is going to introduce bacteria and the possibility of mold. So just going to go ahead and move this around with this knife. Making sure that everything is underneath the olive oil. We're going to wipe the edge of the jar and the rim very, very well, because we don't want to introduce any bacteria. If you see tomatoes that are floating, just make sure you take that knife and kind of push them down in there. We want them under the oil. And even though there's been a shortage of flats for canning, I've not found a shortage of these little plastic lids. They fit the canning jars perfectly. We're going to go ahead and put our lid on this, and we have to store it in the fridge. This does not go in the pantry. Find a little corner to tuck it in your fridge and keep these tomatoes in there. And then whenever you make a pasta dish or something that you want to add some tomatoes to, you just scoop some of these out. And according to Elliot Homestead, scoop out your tomatoes. Make sure you get some of that olive oil. It's fine as long as you add more olive oil if you get low. You know, one thing you want to do is you want to make sure you mark your jar. Make sure you put exactly what's in here. And when you started putting this together, it should last you through your winter season, and then you can start with your fresh cherry tomatoes the next summer. But you don't want this in the back of your fridge and then not really realize what it is. So make sure you put what's in here and the date, and then tuck it away in your fridge. There we go. I'm all set. So that's it for now. Thanks again for the inspiration from Elliot Homestead. I have something to do with all of these little cherry tomatoes that are going to be coming in out of the garden at a slow pace here at the end of summer. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm going to enjoy my tomatoes for a little while. There's not enough here yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with this quart or if I'll get enough tomatoes to move up to a half gallon. But either way, I'm going to enjoy the tomatoes through the winter, adding them a little bit at a time to some of our favorite dishes. So until I see you here again on the farm, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.